My name is Tom Vorselen, also known as at the Study Coach. I help students and overwhelmed working professionals with science-backed learning, time management, and procrastination strategies such that you can excel in your studies and your career without sacrificing your mental and physical health. Today, I'm with Neena Perez on the Straight Talk podcast. Make sure to listen till the end for a special gift.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Straight Talk. Today I have Tom here. You guys are going to love him. Tom Vorselen is a founder of Study Coach. Now, this is something I wish I had especially when I was like in college and all those things, because for nearly failing out of his bachelor's program, Tom turned everything around. Not by studying harder, but by actually learning how to freaking learn. And now I'm actually a professor. So I'm actually teaching other students. And I want to learn more about what Tom does because he helps overwhelmed students and working professionals beat procrastination with like mastering science-based learning methods. And I just love that because most of the times we're just spoken at and we're not actually taught how to learn. So through his one-on-one coaching and workshops and his AI-powered Study Coach platform, he's helped hundreds of students achieve 90 plus grades across medicine and law and engineering and finance and business, all while he's building this global community. And I know that for me and for those of you who are listening, we don't really learn how to learn. We just get information, like tons of information. And I want to talk to Tom about that because I believe that that is why a lot of us struggle with our businesses or what we're doing, because we're just trying to gather so much information and we don't know what compartment to put it in. So I am really excited that he is here. Let's welcome him to the stage. Tom, how are you? How you doing?
I'm doing good, Nina. Thank you. Can you still hear me? Everything is all good?
Yes.
Yes. All
Good.
right.
All good
Awesome.
and good.
Awesome.
Yeah, we had some
Awesome.
technical issues before. So, if you hear a little bit like not $300 or $500 microphones working right now, it is because of the freaking platform. Anyway, I'm really glad you're here, Tom. This has been something I've been wanting to talk to more people about because I know that there's a method for the madness, right? When we're trying to learn things. And so before we get into all of that stuff, I want to know more about you, right? Because you're doing this for a reason. We always learn and then we try to teach others, right? And you went from nearly failing out of your graduating class with and going into an A average, right? So I want you to tell me what is that turning point? How did that change for you? What happened?
Cool. Yeah, before I start introducing myself, I want to encourage the listeners to do something because you've been doing podcasting since I believe 2018, or 16. So what you're doing is super special and I'm honored to be part of that journey. So the thing that I want the listeners to do is if they've been listening to you and indeed they like what you deliver, make sure that they leave a rating and
Oh,
review
thanks
on
for
the
that.
platform that
Thank
they are
you.
listening to, because I
Love
think
that.
that is important. So indeed, my name is Tom Vorselen. I'm founder of the Study Coach. Misconception is that we only help students. We also help busy adults and working professionals who are, studying next to a full-time job, which is even more demanding than just being in
Mm-hmm.
college. And most people struggle indeed with, first of all, procrastination, weak study habits, because we spend around 13,000 hours at school and 0 hours are taught about how to learn, constantly feeling overwhelmed, stressed, and anxious, and therefore they feel stuck, stressed, and disappointed with their academic results. Our goal is to indeed make learning how to learn easy, knowing how to improve and organize yourself, so your time management simple, and
Mm.
learning how to deal with procrastination, which is usually a problem with your state of mind and internal dialogue. And we do that by indeed providing them personal guidance, workshops, coaching calls, chat support, AI platforms, and the whole shebang that you already mentioned. And indeed, I was a failing student. I
Mm-hmm,
miserably
mm-hmm.
failed 50% of my first year courses, which made me self doubt. I was in the
Yeah.
trenches. I was about to be on academic probation, meaning kicked off the university program until my parents found me a learning coach. And the learning coach absolutely changed my life, and I never had a retake again. And that inspired me to start just helping others. And from one person led to another, led to 30, led to 100, led to a community of indeed 500,000 people on our social media platform. So yeah,
That's
started
so good.
small. And
That's really good.
yeah.
That was really wise of your parents to get you a learning coach, because sometimes what happens is that we think it's a problem of intelligence, right? And I feel, and obviously you probably feel this way too, is that we're not taught in school how to learn, right? We're just taught, like there's just stuff coming at us all the time, and we're not taught how to learn, right? It's just a ton of information. I think that's where the procrastination comes from, but I'm sure we'll touch on that, because you get procrastinated because you get overwhelmed and you don't know where to attack it first. And so you kind of like wait till the very last minute. But I want to know, what the heck are the schools missing? What are they missing? Because I used to feel like an idiot in school. I used to feel like I just can't get it. I mean, now I know I have ADHD, I have a little bit of dyslexia, things like that. I didn't know that then, right? Because I'm 53 now. That's not been diagnosed when I was younger. I just always felt stupid. I remember my first grade teacher calling me stupid, actually, because I couldn't get a concept she was trying to teach me. She goes, "What, are you stupid?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not stupid." I was like 6 years old, but that stuck with me. And it wasn't until I went to college and I really had to work hard to focus. I graduated with a 4.0, but that was very difficult. So tell me,
Mm.
Tom, what the freak are they missing? What are they missing in schools?
Yeah. Luckily, we do see a transition where the learning science becomes more important. But let's indeed aim towards the situation that most of your listeners are probably in. They are in the same like age group, maybe 30s to 40s, 50s, 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
learning science has just been developing over the last 20-ish years. So a lot of schools are still trying to implement it in the right way. And now with the rise
Mm-hmm.
of AI, maybe the K-12 schools in the US that are pretty popular on, using AI and personalized learning, that was all not present, right?
Right. Right.
30 years ago when you
Right.
were in college.
There
So
wasn't
indeed,
even computers, Tom. We had no
exactly.
computers.
Exactly. So, and even when I graduated, which is 4 years ago, the only AI kind of like tool we had was Grammarly, which told me whether my sentences were wordy, yes or no.
Right.
Like there was
Right.
no real AI yet. So I think what most schools are now missing is, I think they're also thinking that they're doing a right job by sometimes providing workshops, and these workshops are not obligated. You're not obligated to go to them. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you just come in if you feel like you need it. But students don't know what they miss.
Right.
Students don't know what they miss. So, in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion, like teaching how to learn and teaching how to manage your time should be a mandatory thing around maybe like high school age, where people are like 14, 15, where they get the sense of, oh, I make my own decisions to do
Mm-hmm.
what I
Mm-hmm.
want to do. Like if you do it earlier, it's really not going to happen with little kids. But I think they should make it mandatory. The only thing is, indeed, a lot of them don't know how. They already need to teach mathematics, they already need to teach grammar, they
Yeah.
already need to teach all of these other things. And this is a whole different skill. It should almost be a whole different class that is
Mm-hmm.
being taught on a weekly basis, and to help people actually properly implement this. And I think there's just not the capacity nor the knowledge of how to create a proper curriculum for students around this in this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't think that, and this is just a question as you're talking, do you feel like AI is dumbing us down?
Yes and no. So it depends on the use of the AI. Actually, today I recorded a YouTube video that's going to be live in 2 weeks about how students, or indeed adult learners, should properly use AI in
Oh,
terms of
good.
learning.
I'll be watching that. Okay.
Cool. If you use AI to do thinking for you, it's dumbing you down. So if you say it, summarize this, or give me the most important topics, or if you just passively consume the material that AI is presenting you. You're just going to be reliant on AI doing the thinking for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is like, it's like going into the gym and only watching other people lift weights. You're like, okay, cool, yeah, like increase the
It's a
weight.
great example.
Yeah.
Great example.
Now, if you indeed want to use it, so this is my advice to people listening, if you want to leverage AI in a good way, you should continuously ask it to challenge you on the recall of knowledge. Because study after study has found that recall of knowledge is improving your understanding, your retention, and also identifying your knowledge gaps so you can figure out where you still can improve. Example, let's say I teach something about a history and I share 5 important dates that the student or you go into ChatGPT and you ask yourself, create 5 questions about this short history lecture of Tom. And then it will probably ask you what event happened on 1918 and which persona was influential here. And you have to actively try to recall and retrieve that information. Incredible learning results if you leverage and use
Yeah,
AI
that's a
like
great
that.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really great. That's really great, actually. I never heard anybody put it that way. And that's so good because, I had to actually stop using AI so much because I realized I was becoming reliant on it for like stupid things like, oh, just write this email for me or like just do that. And like, I'm like, okay, I mean, that it's good production wise, like to get things done. But I started realizing that I didn't want to do any of that anymore. Like, I didn't want to think about the email I was writing. I didn't want to think about it. And I'm like, okay, I have to stop because I'm becoming reliant. And I think it's because it made my life a little bit easier. And, that comes in with the procrastination piece, right? Like, I'll do it later because AI will do it for me, or I'll do it later because of whatever. Procrastination is a huge struggle. It's a struggle for students. It's a struggle for entrepreneurs. It's a struggle for adult learners. This is a real thing, Tom. So you're gonna have to help a sister out here, okay? I want people to like grab a pen and pad because we need to know, right? Procrastination is huge. So can you talk to us a little bit about what's really happening beneath the surface when people can't get started, when we just can't do the thing? What's happening there?
Yeah. The way that we look at it is that most people always overestimate what they can do, which is something called the planning fallacy. It's like, oh, we got this task. I can probably get it done in like an hour. And
Yeah,
therefore
oh
it's
God.
easy and it's simple. So, we start to
I
push
do
it
that
off and
all the
then
time, all the
yeah.
time.
Like I even do it when my business coach asks me to do something. I'm like, yeah, I think I can do it, and I experience a lot of stress and anxiety because it's new, and I'm like, ugh. But the most important thing that I want your listeners to take away is to look inside their internal dialogue around the task that is in front of them.
Mm,
So there is something from cognitive behavioral therapy where there's a situation occurring. For example, you have to learn for an exam that gives you a course or a certification that allows you to make promotion, right? So
mhm,
you're going
mhm.
to make more money. You're like, yeah, cool, amazing. The only thing is, your past experience with academics are probably that you indeed always procrastinated, you never knew how to learn, or maybe in the past somebody called you stupid. So you still have that internal belief
Mhm,
that you
mhm.
might not be able to do this. Now, this internal dialogue, these thoughts, they indeed make us feel a certain way. So thoughts influence feelings in a basic sense. However, if our thoughts are negative, so I'm stupid, I'm not sure if I can do it, I failed the previous exam, this is not for me, that situation, our brain is going to project us experiencing the same failures again, which makes us feel stressed, anxious, and overwhelmed.
Mhm.
What does our brain want to do when we feel that way? Run, wants to avoid that. So this is then where the procrastination happens. We grab our phone, we binge watch. Maybe we even, so for the entrepreneurs, right? They start to work because they know like, oh, if I just do my work, I'm doing something productive and I can justify for myself that I'm actually doing something important, but they're still avoiding the learning or like the exam or the
Right,
course
yeah.
that they want to take. And then indeed they sabotage themselves and the consequences are just going to be negative. So What we want to learn people or teach them is to understand where their thoughts are coming from. So, is that a past experience or a past failure? And if so, what were your habits and behavior back then? And now,
Mm-hmm.
with our help, is it fair to still think that you're going to fail because you're now doing different learning strategies? You're organizing yourself better. You have
That's
to
so
report
good.
back to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Like we want to shift their belief in terms of what they are capable of. They're going to take more action based on courage. They're like, okay, yeah, I have Tom's support. I do now have the methods and I do see improvements in my retention. Boom, they take the exam, they get a 90%. Even like adult learners, 51, 58, 61, I've worked with everything. And they're like, Tom, I wish I learned this when I was in
Mm-hmm.
college. It would be a completely different experience. And now they don't procrastinate anymore because the task doesn't feel scary. It doesn't feel
Ah.
overwhelming anymore. And they are on this flow like, oh, see if I, implement this system, I succeed. And it's a simpler equation to follow, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you're really talking about, well, you're changing the game really, right? Because a lot of us, I know that you're Dutch, right? But here in the US, it's like they just give you a bunch of information, ring a bell, you go to the next class. They give you a bunch of information, ring the bell, you go to the next class. So what I learned is to study for the exam only. But I loved when you talk about like trying to recall, try to like really think about what you're learning. I didn't really do that, right? It was just like learn, move on, learn, move on. And the recall is the difficult part for me, right? And I think that the recall might be a difficult part for lots of people
Mhm.
because we just want to just consume. And I think now being on, social media and YouTube and all the things, now we're getting an exuberant amount of information, which makes it, I think, even harder to focus because you're like really trying to focus on this task and then the next thing comes on. Right. And you're like, oh, yeah, let's look at the bunny rabbits. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's always something. Right. So you're talking about focus, right? And I love that you're talking about making this like a science, science backed learning instead of motivation or discipline alone. So for those who are listening, right? Because I have a lot of entrepreneurs and adult, between 30 and 60 plus that listen to my show. What methods can you give them like right now? Like if you can give them something to do right now, what do you think could make the biggest difference for them to start?
In terms of learning, just
Yeah.
so that I
Mhm.
answer the question
Mhm.
like most
Yeah, so
accurately.
they can get out of that procrastination crap, and
Mm.
actually start to learn. Because I know I'm 53 and I love education. So I love learning. And right now I'm teaching in at the college here, and I love it.
Cool. Cool.
What do I do? How do we shift that?
Yeah. The biggest takeaway that I want everyone to have is to indeed shift from passive consumption. So only listening, only reading,
Mhm.
only
Mhm.
rewriting what you're hearing, because that's what a lot of people do as well, right? They grab that
Mhm.
notebook. Oh, this is an interesting fact. And they just write that down like, cool. But it's passive consumption. What I want you to do is to continuously think about, if I were a professor, what kind of questions would I ask to test my students around this topic? So, what I shared earlier, it's like, okay,
I
what
like
was
that.
the important date? When did it happen? Who was involved? Where did it happen? What is the formula that we need to use to calculate this? What's the definition of a certain, symbol within the formula? So instead of just looking at the formula and thinking like, oh, this formula is overwhelming, start asking yourself, okay, what does the outcome of the formula
Mhm.
actually tell me?
Mhm.
What does this number represent? Because numbers
Mhm.
tell stories as well.
Right. Right.
So main takeaway is, instead of being a consumer, start to be a creator of questions and test yourself on that
That's
knowledge.
good. That's very
And
good.
when you start doing that, you become way more curious about next things and you get interested
Mhm.
in the topic, and learning becomes fun because you're going to indeed get into the flow where it's like, oh, okay, I tried to recall this. Yeah, it's a struggle, but learning is a struggle. Like it's never easy. Also for me, I really need to put an effort to learn something. But if you do it question based, it's going to go faster. And when it then goes
Mm-hmm.
faster and you are seeing these small successes, you start to believe in yourself and you're like, okay, yeah, I can actually do this.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. I actually wrote that down because I think, it's really important for us to understand the concept. Like I'm a culinary professor, right? So I teach a lot in cooking and culinary and things like
Cool.
that. And the way I learn and the way my students that I have in my class learn is we talk about the concept first and then we actually implement the concept. So we actually
Perfect.
have to put hands on. And I learn faster that way. Like just reading doesn't do it for me. I have to think of the concept and how it works. That's why I like what you said about asking yourself, if you were a professor, what questions would you ask? Because
Yeah.
I think that will then put you in a place of having to answer those and then you remember. So you're actually implementing it. I do it hands on because we're cooking,
Yeah,
but it's
like
the
it's hard
same thing.
to learn how to
Yeah.
cook from just staring. It's like the same
Yeah.
as learning how to drive a car by only reading the car manual.
Right.
Like it's not going to happen. Yeah.
Exactly. I know
Yeah.
because there's a lot of drivers out there that shouldn't be driving. But yes, I agree,
Yeah. Okay.
Tom. I
Okay.
agree. I mean, I think this is also what's causing us to have this big burnout culture, right? Is that we're trying to really get, like you said, you mentioned it earlier, let me take this course for the certificate because I have to go to the next thing, or you'll elevate myself this way, or start my new business, or whatever that burnout is coming from. And a lot of it is, not having that way to learn or focus or to enjoy what you're doing. So burnout is becoming a very, very common thing for high performers. And I'm sure that you know that because those are your clients, right? How do you help them achieve those top results without really sacrificing their mental health? Because burnout and mental health is becoming a big thing, Tom, you
Hmm.
know? So how does your company and what you do help them with that?
I think one thing that I learned about burnout from one of my mentors called Rob Dial. Maybe you know him. He has one of the biggest mindset mentor podcasts in the world at the moment. He said burnout is not from doing too many things. It's from too little of the things that you enjoy.
Mhm, mhm,
And how that really resonated with me and how I'm going to put that in perspective into this setting is indeed, if you continuously do something that doesn't bring you joy or you don't see any progress in it, so you're just kind of like beating the wall, but there's not going to be any ditch and you just hurt your hand, um, you're eventually just going to bleed and it's going to be terrible and you're going to, you know, everyone tells you, oh, just keep punching, keep punching. But nobody told you maybe that indeed a hammer is a way better way to break down a wall. And nobody handed you
mhm,
the hammer. So you've never really experienced what it's like to make real progress and see real results when you are learning more efficiently or when you are planning your time efficiently and
mhm.
effectively. So of course, like academic exhaustion is a really big thing, but that is indeed usually a consequence of not doing well throughout the whole semester. So many students come to me and they say, "Yeah, Tom, I pull all-nighters, I crammed everything, and I put in 14 hours a day, 15 hours a day, and I still didn't get the results, and now I feel burned out." Like that's
Mhm,
that's what I get a
mhm,
lot of times. So I said, okay, and what did the semester in total look like? Yeah, I procrastinated, did all of these other things that led to them being in
mhm.
that situation where they have to push everything in like 1 week, which is almost impossible. So we really have to learn them from the get-go, from the beginning, what proper time management looks like, especially the
Yeah,
adult learners.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, do we okay, so what the heck is time management, right? Because you
Mhm.
you go and you look up time management on whatever, YouTube, Google, it doesn't matter. You're gonna get like a billion things. What do you think is the most effective way to learn time management? Like for me, I have to do pomodoros, right?
Mhm.
Like I actually put on my pomodoro and I turn everything off and I'm just focused for those time. That just happens to work for me because my mind is everywhere from my
Yeah.
ADHD. So what's time management?
There's not a one size fits all. So what most people do wrong is what we see. What most people do wrong is they say, okay, I'm going to make a plan for this week. And at the end of the week, they look back and they say, oh, I didn't accomplish anything, so therefore I'm bad at time management.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Hundreds questions that I can ask. Have you taken into account indeed the planning fallacy, the fact that you think that you can finish things fast, which is not true. So therefore, indeed, if you allocate 1 hour, it will probably take you 1.5 or 2 hours. So have you taken that into account? No, Tom, I didn't. Okay, cool. Second thing, do you know about Parkinson's law? Which basically means that work fills up to the time that you give it for. So if you indeed have a repetitive task and you've been doing it over and over, all right, you give yourself an hour, you'll probably finish it within an hour. But if you give yourself 2 hours, you're going to take 2 hours. That's also how it works, because we
So
like
true.
to stretch it out.
So
Are you using time blocks? So are you setting intentions of what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, where you're going to do it, and how you're going to do it? And I'm being super specific about these 4 points: when, where,
yeah.
how, and what, because this reduces something that we call decision fatigue. I feel like I'm lecturing a lot, but we did a workshop on this yesterday, so it's pretty fresh still.
This is awesome.
That decision fatigue means you as a person are making thousands of this mini decisions on a daily basis. Okay, am I grabbing a drink? What am I having for dinner? Which socks am I wearing? Which shirt am I putting on? Like
Right.
all these small decisions require some mental energy. And if you now need to make these huge decisions at that moment about what to study, where to study, how to study, overwhelm, procrastination. So time blocking, super simple concept. Look at your schedule, block 2 hours for a single task, explain what you do, when to do it, how to do it. If you're like yourself, you can split that up into 25 minutes work, 5 minutes break, 25 minutes work, 5-minute break, Pomodoro technique. For some people, it works better to just work 15 minutes, have a 5-minute break, work again 15 minutes. This really depends. Like there's so many factors.
Yeah.
And we really need to sit together with the student or the adult and on a weekly basis reflect, okay, what worked, what didn't work, what do we stop doing, what do we continue doing, what do we start doing? And then we make
Okay.
small changes. Within 4 to 5 weeks, we usually see that everyone has a sustainable go-to time management system that they can rinse and repeat. Yeah.
So what does it look like to work with you, right? So those of you who are listening, I want you to really think about the fact of, are you procrastinating, right? So all of my listeners, I know that you guys are like amazing and you're always emailing me and all the great things. But this is important because I've been watching a lot of people and also getting emails with people that, oh, I love what this person said about this because I'm struggling with this, right? So, Tom, tell me what it is to work with you. Like, what does that look like? If somebody's listening right now and says, I actually believe that this can help me, what does that all look like?
Yeah, so I'll just give you a little bit behind the scenes, indeed. Usually, the most important thing that I want to do first with people is to get to know them. So we invite them on a quick call, like super straightforward. We run down what are their challenges, what are your pain points, for how long have you been struggling with it? Because like sometimes people tell me that they been retaking exams for 4 or 5 years. Imagine the cost of those exams, as well as the
Yeah.
delay on
Yeah.
making a promotion or like getting the certificate. Well, so we identify the challenges, then we look at their goals. So what would the ideal situation look like? And if we honestly think it's a good fit, then we'll help them. The people that we don't help, I just also want to be clear around that, because if you're listening and you experience real like mental health issues, then that is not our strong suit. We're not here
Right.
to indeed cure a burnout or help you with that, or overcome academic trauma and things like that. That should be for the psychologist and therapist. But if you're in a position where you're like, state of mind is good, you just feel like you're indeed stuck, yeah, we can move forward. We hold them accountable with weekly one-on-one coaching calls. Like everyone in my program always has a one-on-one coach. And
That's
I
awesome.
think I heard you say it on one of your other podcasts that every coach needs a coach, every doctor
Oh,
needs a
yeah.
doctor. So like
Absolutely.
I personally believe that a one-on-one touch point is always more beneficial than a group setting where there's less accountability. And one thing that cures procrastination most of the time is accountability and someone
Mhm.
checking in with you,
Mhm.
because you
Mhm.
have no way to, BS yourself around it and come up with excuses.
So true.
So always one-on-one coaching. We have indeed our exclusive AI tool developed for students in our program only. And these are not just surface level create flashcards, kind of like AI tools. No, we will provide continued feedback on your time management. We'll give you access to learning methods. We have daily goal setting stuff all
Oh,
around
that's awesome.
performance and things like that. And my favorite thing is my weekly workshops, right? So same as that you're teaching and then asking your students to, apply it in the kitchen. That's what we do as well. Like I teach a principle, I teach a learning method, and we're going to apply it because
Mhm.
application-based learning is proven to be most efficient and effective next to indeed question-based learning. So
Right.
we will tell them, here's the learning method, go do it for 15, 20 minutes. We come together, we do a feedback round. How did it go? What did you learn? Where did you struggle? Such that they can
Oh, that's good.
eventually, implement it with confidence by themselves. And
I
yeah,
like
like
that.
that's around 60, 70% of the program, but the rest is, to be explored when they are interested. Yeah.
That's really good though, right? Because you're actually doing what you're teaching them to do. I mean, if you're giving them, the method and then go do it and then come back, it makes you do it, right? It makes you like actually say, okay, let me go and actually implement this because, I'll be at workshops sometimes and they'll just give you a bunch of information and then it's like, bye. And I don't ever look at that notebook again, Tom. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna be real. Like, I'll pull out an old notebook. I'm like, whoa, those were good notes. I never looked at it for like a year. Like, that is, and now that I'm actually, professor and I'm teaching and all that stuff, I'm just being more intentional about how I'm teaching, and that's been helping me a lot because I have to make sure that I'm up on the concepts as well as I'm like, yeah, I remember taught that. Let me make this a little bit different. So I love what you're doing, Tom. And I think it's really, really important. And I love that you are clear about who you don't help as well. That's important. And you made me laugh because I remember I had a coaching program for women and I taught them how to like create their own coaching businesses and get their expertise out there and stuff. And it was beautiful and it was successful. The problem was, same thing you just said about if you give somebody, a long period of time, they take that. If they take them 2 hours, take them 2 hours. Well, my program was a year long and it would take the women a year to do it. I'm like, okay, this doesn't work, right? If I give you a year, you're going to take the whole freaking year. So I think that's brilliant. Thank you for what you do out there. And I love that you're implementing the one-on-ones. I think that's super important because then people feel heard and then they feel like, okay, I'm not just paying into this program and not getting anything out of it. So Tom, how do people actually sign up? How do they get that first phone call with you? And where do we follow you to get this information? Like, do you have like social media out there where you put some of this stuff out? Like, give us that information.
Sweet, sounds good. Yeah, thanks for giving me that opportunity. And yeah, what I decided to do is indeed for listeners who are interested, I created something specifically for them. Some of the material that I'm willing to share with them is reserved for paid clients, but I made something that I call a study breakthrough bundle. So if someone is interested,
That's
they
awesome.
can check this out. Again, this is for people who are either studying or they have students or they are working professionals themselves who are procrastinating, experiencing time pressure, struggling with the learning, and you might feel like you're working hard but not getting the results. Then this is what I'm going to give you: proven learning methods, a system how to deal with procrastination and create better time management skills. One thing is the Pacer Study Blueprint. It's a step-by-step framework. It's an acronym, PACER, but you will learn it once you grab it. How to, learn more in less time with active recall. And there are some secret memorization
Mm,
strategies in there. And it's a guaranteed way to indeed remember more of what you read and consume. So that is the
that's
first thing.
awesome. Mhm.
The second thing is that I'm going to give away the Anti-Procrastination Masterclass series, which is a exclusive video training and workbooks that indeed I usually only share with my paying members. But I grabbed the two most important concepts, procrastination and time management, for, I
Mm-hmm.
think, your audience. And that is bundled in the video courses as well as some workbooks, such that, again, they can start implementing it. There's the worksheets in
Right.
there.
That's awesome.
So if they want to grab the Study Breakthrough Bundle, I put together a page, and that is Tom Vorselen, TomVorselen.com/straight, referring to your podcast.
Oh,
And then they can grab it. After they grabbed it, they also have an opportunity, if we feel that they are a right fit, to book in a call with us. So once they go through this process, again, tomvorselen.com/straight, they first get the Pacer Study Blueprint and the Anti-Procrastination Masterclass series. And if they then think, okay, this all sounds good, I want to know more about, they have the opportunity there to book a call with us.
that is such a gift. Thank you so much for that. Make sure to put that in the notes and also blast it on socials, because that's important. This is important. What you're doing is important. And I've had a lot of amazing professionals on this show. I don't think I've had anyone with what you're doing. So that's why I wanted you on
Thank you.
here, right?
Thank you.
Because when you talk about like actually remembering, and so that we can stop all the burnout out there, and the hustle culture that's happening, where people are just burning out, and all of it is because they're trying to be the next whatever, Tony Robbins, whatever you want, whatever name you want to pluck in there, right? But there's so much information that they don't know where to go or what to do or how to retain it. That's important. That's the biggest piece. I know it's been for me in my whole life. I've had to overstudy so hard just to retain it because my brain is everywhere, right? So thank you for being here on Straight Talk. Thank you for dropping so much knowledge and wisdom. And I want to make sure that I really push this episode out, because I want to make sure that people are really understanding that you are here to help and that there's help out there. So
Cool.
muchas gracias, Tom, for being on the show.
De
I
nada.
appreciate you.
De nada, is that
Yeah,
my
you got
Spanish
it.
look good?
You
Yeah.
got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you for
will
being
share it
here.
on my channels as well, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sauce. Guys, I'm going to make sure to link that information below. Please go ahead and make sure that you pick up these amazing gift that Tom gave you. I'm going to put that information as well with the links so that you can pick that up. And if you feel like, okay, this is working for me and I really need to move forward, he's also going to give you a call with him or his team to make sure that you get the help that you need to really rise to that next level that you've been trying to go to without burning yourself out to get there. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for sharing, subscribing, all the things. You already know the drill. Let's actually learn and keep it and just have that wisdom that we need to share with others, because we have been consuming so much that we are feeling overwhelmed, and that's what keeps you from actually reaching that next level that you've been trying to reach. So let's make this happen, y'all. This is Neena Perez, Straight Talk, no sugar added. Until next time. Just press resume really quick. Make sure it's recording. Okay, it's recording. I'm going to pull down and then you have the stage to yourself. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, here we go.